Maybe you're moving to Utah and you wonder, how do you find an affordable home in Utah? If you've watched any of my previous videos from the last few weeks, you've probably noticed that Utah home prices have gone through the roof. Okay, so 74% increase in the price of homes in Utah over the last 5 years. That's a huge increase. That sort of average or median home price went from $336,000 in 2020 up to $500,000 in 2022. Huge increase. That's so if you're moving to Utah from somewhere else, let's talk about where you might look to find affordable housing. If you have a choice, where would you go? Let's move over to a map, take a look over there. So here we are looking at our map. It's a big map. I've zoomed out quite a bit because there are definitely some areas that you want to look in. I would say that you could basically split this up into 3 different areas. You could maybe draw a line at the top of Salt Lake over here, and at the bottom of Salt Lake, which, I mean, I suppose that's not exactly Salt Lake, but if you live in Salt Lake, believe me, a lot of people refer to all these areas as Salt Lake, even though this is technically Salt Lake right here. If you have to be in this central area, right near Salt Lake, because you need to work in the city, you don't work remotely, that sort of thing, some of the areas that you might want to look in are going to be, let's zoom in a little here. If you were to sort of break this into quadrants, maybe right here along I-215, and then right here again along I-215, what you would find is that in this upper northeast quadrant, you're going to find the least affordable homes, okay? Whereas if you look over here in this area, in Kearns, Magna, Glendale, you're gonna find some of the most affordable homes. You'll also find that if you go a little bit south and west, you'll find some really great affordability there too. And depending on how you're defining affordability, there are definitely some pockets in the southeast also, really depending on what you mean by affordable. Zooming out, coming down to this bottom third that we talked about, in the past, it was true that you could say, like starting Bluffdale all the way down here, you had lots of affordability all around here. That's changed with the pandemic. Provo has become less affordable than it used to be, although it is still a little bit more affordable. And Lehigh used to be kind of nothing really, and now it's become much less affordable itself. You have Alpine and Highland over here. These are basically the Park City of Utah County, and that's where you'll find your several $1,000,000 homes. So probably it's not going to be in any of these areas over here if you have to live in Utah County. If you have to live in Utah County, I would say your best bet is going to be in Pleasant Grove, Orem, Linden, kind of in this area around here. But all the way down to Provo, where it starts to get a little more expensive again. If you can pass Provo and come live in some of these more rural areas, you can definitely find a lot more affordability. Going up here towards Weber and Davis County, if you need to be a little bit closer to, say, Ogden, maybe I'll zoom out a tiny bit. It's kind of a bigger area here. Bountiful all the way up to Ogden is going to be a lot more affordable. Ogden has some of the most affordable homes in the area, and again, if you find yourself hugging it, what you'll notice is that the closer you, when you take these areas and draw a quadrant over them, what you'll find is the northeast quadrant of each county is going to be the least affordable place, mostly because you have some of the mountains there and some of the nicest benches that everyone wants, and beautiful sunsets. You get to look over the Great Salt Lake, that sort of thing. So it's least affordable in that northeast quadrant. And then coming to the the southeast and the southwest and the west quadrant, northwest quadrant, you tend to find a little bit more affordability. But obviously that's going to be very dependent on where you're looking. If you're looking in Roy, for example, Roy has some really affordable homes. If you go into some of the suburbs like Hooper, that sort of thing. But Roy, actually, median home price is slightly higher than Ogden. So it's still affordable, but it's a little bit more expensive than Ogden proper, which is kind of this suburb over here. If you can move kind of out of the more densely populated areas into some of these kind of less densely wetlandy field areas, you're not as proximal to the mountains, but your prices are going to be a lot better. So if you are moving to Utah and you need to find affordable housing in Weber or Davis County or Utah County or Salt Lake County or Tooele County, reach out to me. I can definitely help you figure out where the best place to buy your most affordable home is going to be. I love hearing from people. It's one of my favorite things to do. I put these videos out specifically so I can answer questions, and sometimes it's hard to know if I'm answering the question that you actually have. So please feel free to reach out. I love answering your questions and hearing from you and getting you where you want to go.